Hello, welcome to Shad Life. If you're wondering what this frame is, I talked about it in my vlog, episode 4. This is my Esker Hayduke steel frame. It's left over when I bought the titanium frame earlier this summer and swapped all my parts over to the titanium frame. So now I have this sitting around. And I decided this is going to be my winter build project. Why am I making this my winter build project? Well, if you've been following my channel for a while and looked in the comments section, you might have seen that I did a poll on whether I should try a mullet build on my surly low side. And I know a lot of people wanted me to do that. But I realized I really like my low side, and so does everybody else. It's probably my most popularly commented on bike on my channel. But my low side just rides so nice. It's so perfect the way it is. I don't want to mess with it. So, since I have this frame laying around, this is going to be my mullet experiment. So, it'll be fun. This is going to be a super fun project, and it'll allow me to experiment around with a few things. So we're going to start off with mullet, and I'm going to keep it as single speed. So it's going to be a mullet single speed build to start, right? So if you don't know what mullet is, it's a 29er front wheel, 27.5 rear wheel. I mean, it could be a 27.5 front wheel and a 26 rear wheel, but that's almost obsolete. It's very hard to find 26 stuff. Plus, this frame is designed around a 27.5 wheel. So, if you're wondering what that supposedly does, the 29er wheel is supposed to roll over stuff easier and so on and so forth. In the 27.5 wheel, because of the smaller diameter and a slightly bit lighter weight, it'll give you a little bit more acceleration. The other advantage of it is if you're jumping and stuff, it gives you a little extra room for tucking and things like that. I have actually buzzed myself on the tire on a 27.5 bike quite a few times. So if I had a 29er wheel in the rear, I'm gonna have to do it even more. So gives you a little more clearance, so on and so forth. The other thing a 29er wheel does is it lifts the front end and changes the geometry, so it slackens the bike a little bit, things like that. I'm going to try to prevent from changing the geometry too much, and how I'm going to do that is by getting a 120 millimeter fork instead of a 140 millimeter fork. The bike came with a 140 millimeter fork, which is on here on my titanium bike, and this is a 27.5 140 millimeter fork with a 27.5 wheel. Going to a 29-inch wheel and a 29 fork, I want to drop 20 millimeters because that's the increase in axle to crown and all of that stuff. So kind of funky stuff there, but yeah, I want to minimize how much I slacken the geometry of this when I go to a mullet, but it'll slacken it a tiny bit. Then I'm going to build out the rest of it. So right now I have a fork that I can get. My friend Tony has one available for me through his bike shop, the Creaky Wheel, which is in Clayton, Wisconsin. It's a DVO Sapphire D1 fork. What's cool about that is that it's actually adjustable. It's a 29er fork, and it's adjustable from 140 to 120. So I can play around with that and actually set it in the 140 setting, which I guess is pretty simple to do. I haven't done it, but he says it's simple. You just take the fork apart, change something, and get more travel or whatever, right? So if I go 140, that's going to slacken it even more. If I go 120, it's going to quicken it up. So I can experiment with that also. So I have some experimental possibilities, which is going to be really cool. So we'll have the mullet to experiment with, fork travel adjustment to experiment with. I'll be started out as a single speed The fork is going to be blue. If you watched my vlog, you'll notice I was thinking of the Marzocchi fork in red, but since this fork is available, I'm going to get this one. It's a little bit nicer fork. And it's got high speed compression, low speed compression, blah, 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 all this stuff, right? And so since that's going to be blue, I'm going to start going blue accents, and I've already ordered some parts. I'll tell you what I've ordered. So for wheels, I ordered Hunt Trail Wide wheels. They come available in Mullet, so you get the 29er front and the 27.5 rear. That's cool. And then I ordered it with the HG driver. So why an HG driver? Well, that's compatible for single speeding. It's also compatible for some other drivetrain possibilities, and I'll talk about that in a second. But a micro spline or an XD driver would limit me to what I could put on here for drivetrains to just Shimano and SRAM. So I want to stick with a more flexible driver, and I can always switch that out later too. So we'll start with an HG driver, and then I ordered a wolf tooth blue aluminum cog 17 tooth, because I'm going to start out at 3417. That's what my low side is primarily at. 3217, sorry. 3217 on a 27.5 wheel is about where I like it. I know that because I have my low side. And that's something I can also play around with at some point. And I ordered the the new wolf tooth pedals in blue. So that's what I got coming. The fork, the wheels, the rear cog, and the pedals. I still have to decide on the crankset, tires, brakes, dropper post, seat of course, stem, and handlebars. So that's where you can post in the comments, let me know if you have any ideas of what I should get on those other parts. Especially cranks, right? If you're wondering why this bag is here, I'll tell you that in a second, but I'm very curious, like, what possible cranks could I put on here. I also have the idea that I do want to upgrade the cranks on one of these two bikes. And if I do that, then the XT crank from these bikes would be available, so I would end up with the XT crank on here. But I don't know. There's some cool cranks out there, like 5-dev cranks, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how much money I want to spend on this project. So there you have it. That's my plan. This bag is kind of cool because when I bought the titanium frame, it came with all the extra parts, including the headset, and it came with all the bolts, mounting bolts, and the little guides for cables. But I didn't need to use them because I had all those parts from my switch over from this frame to that frame. So I have all those parts here. So I have a wolf tooth headset, so that'll be the headset I use. And I have all the pieces in here that I need for cable guides and mounts and all that. So that's super cool. So I'm set in that department. Now I just need dropper post, seat, cranks, tires, what else? Stem, handlebars, brakes. Did I mention brakes? So there we have it. So winter build project. I'm super stoked on this. Cool. To conclude this video, please like and subscribe, but I want to add why I always say that. So subscribing helps me out, but it also helps you out. What subscribing actually does on YouTube, if you don't know, because some people don't know, is it will now put my videos in your feed. So when you go to YouTube to look and I have a new video out, it'll show up in your feed automatically. Liking a video is just a way of saying, yeah, this video is cool, I like it. Whether you like a video or not, that's up to you. And subscribing, if you like the content from my channel, I highly recommend you hit the subscribe button, because that just gets more of my videos in your feed. The bell, I never say anything about that. that actually puts a message up when I put a new video up. I don't like messages popping up on my browser and stuff. It's something I don't like, so I never hit anybody's bell. I do subscribe to quite a few channels. I like videos when I like them, but I never hit the bell. So that's why I say that at the end of my videos. A little something about the dislike button. I almost never hit dislike on anybody's videos. The only time I will ever do that is if they're spreading disinformation or there's just something really bad about the video. If I just not interested in the video and don't really like it, I just don't hit like and I move on. Hitting dislike, in my opinion, is kind of like, it's kind of rude in the sense that if there's not something you really just dislike about the video, why would you bother doing that negative feedback? But that's just how I do it. Like, I don't hit the dislike button. If I could probably count maybe 5 times in all my time being on YouTube that I've hit the dislike button, and it's almost always been maybe some kind of misinformation or disinformation thing, and not even bike related. When it comes to bike stuff, people are very different and they'll do what they want to do. I'm not going to ever dislike their stuff because they're just doing their thing, right? Cool. That's all I wanted to end this video with. I'm really stoked on this build. I mean, it's going to be really fun to have this as a winter project, and I've been really curious about doing mullet build and trying it out because I have no idea if I'm going to like it or not. But it's going to be cool to try because a lot of people are talking about it. So this will be it. And then once I have that and ride it for a little bit, I might experiment with different drivetrains, which is why I want that HG driver. Just kind of, I mean, this is going to be a ways down the road because I got to actually ride this next year in April is when I'll be able to start riding it. So thinking box 9 might be kind of cool to experiment with because I hear a lot of stuff about that. Maybe do another Advent X 10-speed build on here. I don't know. We'll see. That's where the experimental part comes in. It'll be kind of fun to have a bike that I can just experiment around with. And I'll keep these guys, my rustlers there, off camera, but it's right there, as my pure hardcore bikes that I ride all the time. And then this can be my experimental bike. And I'll leave my low side alone, which I'm sure nobody wants me to mess with that thing because it's so awesome the way it is. Peace.